Hey YouTube land, Tychondrus here doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at the Astra Militarum Decor of Krieg Veteran Squad Guardsman. That is a bit of a mouthful. This is the Joytoy, again another 1 to 18 scale Joytoy figure from the good folks, well, the Warhammer 40,000 figure from the good folks at Joytoy. And this is one of the more human scale characters, in the sense that these aren't the bio-enhanced Space Marines. So we have a quick look at the box. You can see an image of the figure on the front. Now there is a full squad of these guys released. Again, you can see this is for 15 plus. There's a full squad of these guys released: a sergeant, a special weapon guy, and a couple of guardsmen. I picked up one of the guardsmen because I didn't have enough to buy all of them at the moment, so I will probably pick them up slowly, one at a time. But and if you're wondering if you're thinking this kind of looks familiar, if you're familiar with the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team box set that came out recently, it was the one versus the Orcs. It was Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum versus Orcs. These figures are based off those characters. So on the back of the box you have an image of the character doing a few various poses with stuff he comes with. There is the copyright information on one side, there's a big sticker over another side. There is the 40k logo on top and bottom of the box. And inside the box, when you get this guy, now he is out of the box, you get a plastic tray. Now with the Guardsman figures, so far from what I can see, they don't come with the collector card like some of the Space Marines do. The generic Space Marines, well, the first run of generic Intercessors came with them. The Infiltrators I have, which I have still yet to review, the Infiltrators and Incursors, I think didn't come with cards. But the Marines did, the Intercessor Marines did, so it seems to be hit and miss which characters or which figures come with the actual little included card. So I'm just moving a few bits and pieces aside, so we'll bring in the figure, and here he is in all his amazing Astra Militarum glory. So he comes with a few accessories. Actually, I'll just take his main accessories out. His backpack is removable. He has a bayonet. His helmet is actually removable. It is a separate piece, but he looks really weird without it. So for the process of this review, I think I shall try and leave it on unless it falls off. It isn't glued into place or anything. It is just sitting on his head, so moving it around, depending on how you move it, it might fall off. But before we get into the figure, I'm just going to move him back, move this out of the way, bring in the old trusty tape measure, which I have off the side here so you can just see how tall he is. So he stands just, with the helmet on, he stands around 4¼ inches. I'd say without the helmet, he just stands with the 4 inches. So he is a fairly small figure. Now, I'm not sure if mine is broken just here. It seems to have a split on where the jacket is. It doesn't make much of a difference to me because it actually gives him a bit more articulation, because when the jacket is enclosed like this, the legs are very hindered. So this, like, there is a split going up the back as well for the articulation. So this kind of gives a good little bit of extra oomph for the articulation. You can't really get these guys in sitting poses because of the way the jacket is designed, or the overcoat. It's actually an overcoat, it's not really a jacket, because it's all the way from the top and then pinned at the side here to give them some measure of movement when they're on Krieg. But I'm assuming they don't move too much, as most people will say these guys have happy gas mask noises, because every trooper in the Krieg army that you can get so far is wearing one of these gas masks and rebreather type things, which is kind of cool. They have like these kind of fairly intense red lenses on their helmet, or on the gas mask. They have the kind of almost like a German, I wouldn't say German, or maybe early World War I style helmet on, which is kind of cool. These guys are really designed off the World War I sort of entrenchers or trench runners kind of thing from World War I. So you have that kind of, they almost look like the German troopers from that, or was it Austrian troopers? Whoops. See, as I mean, he just fell over slightly. So we'll go on to his, before I dig into his articulation, we'll go on to his accessories. So he comes with a backpack. It has a small clip on the side. Now, I thought this was for his shovel, because these guys are, well, it's not actually a shovel, it's an entrenching tool is what it is. But these guys are known for using their shovels as melee weapons. It's like a common running theme slash joke with these guys, that they, you know, charge the enemy with shovels, even though the enemies might be like Chaos Space Marines, which have like 12, maybe like 5 or 6 centimeters thick armor on, and they would do nothing against that. But like, still, it is a kind of running joke. He comes with this other tool. Now, I don't think it's supposed to be a stick grenade. I have a feeling it's meant to be more of a something for like an engineering tool. It looks like more like a cog on the top of it than an actual grenade. Then again, it could be wrong. It could be one of those kind of World War I era / 2 era style stick bombs, because I know orcs use those a lot. It comes with a trusty las rifle. These are pretty cool. They're designed a good bit different to the kind of standard Imperial Guard las gun, whereas the kind of normal Imperial Guard las gun that you usually see has like a normal kind of handle down here for the trigger. These are kind of more rifle, you know, like single shot barrel rifle sort of style. That bayonet that comes with it, that clips onto the backpack, does have a hole, and it does peg in to the front of the gun, so you can do bayonet stuff with that. And he does come with 2 gripping hands for the shovel and the tool. I do find that the hands, the default hands that come with them, which are the trigger finger hands, do tend to hold those not too bad either. They're a bit loose, as you can see. I'm assuming the grip hands will have a much tighter grip on it, but like, you can hold them in both hands, or you can give it to one of these hands, which I haven't actually swapped out on this guy yet because I've been too, yeah, he holds it a lot tighter on the grip hand. So if you wanted him to be holding it with a better tight grip, you have that. He does come with a Astra Militarum backpack, so he has like a bedroll up top. He has pouches on the side of the bag, big kind of square box type bag. And he has this canister on the bottom. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe it's for the breeding apparatus. I don't think so, because it doesn't hook into the breeding apparatus, but it is probably maybe field rations or something like that in there, or something along those lines. He has these shoulder pads, which are removable. They show them actually off the figure on the back of the box. They are a little bit of a pain to get off, so I'm not going to be doing that. But it is a pretty cool design. So for his default hand, he comes with these a trigger finger hand on one side, and a kind of a more open grip for the barrel of the las gun. Would help if I was putting the las gun on the right way around. Now, one of the things I find kind of annoying about this is the strap on the las gun. I get why it's there. It's for him to be in the pose on the box. He's holding it in under this arm, and it's kind of at an angle, so it's kind of at a strange angle when it's on his shoulder, and he's kind of holding it out, and he has the thing. It's the way, I think it's the way the actual miniature is designed. But this, even though it is a rubbery piece and you can kind of move it, I have an issue up here where this is starting to break, because this is glued into place on the peg for the rubber piece, and if you're kind of folding it over, it puts pressure on it. So if you want him to hold his rifle, you have to kind of angle it right, because there goes his hamlet again. You have to angle it right because it kind of holds at an angle. So he can't hold it straight like that. He has to hold it kind of down at a certain angle and then give you that pose with it. You can't get him into the two-handed poses all right. And as I said, because of the because of the strap, it just looks ridiculous. If you can kind of bury that strap underneath the rifle, but as I said, you have to be wary about this piece up here. This one doesn't seem to be breaking as much because I think it's a bigger kind of point where it's glued on place. This is a very small kind of piece. But then you come into another issue with these guys, which is a bit of a shame. I kind of wish this collar piece was a bit more, it's a very solid plastic. I kind of wish it was more this kind of rubbery plastic, because that way you could actually get the head to turn in the direction he's firing in. The head is on a ball joint. I can kind of feel the ball joint moving up and down. You get some side to side, but not enough to kind of give you a good looking down the way he's firing. The only way you can kind of do it is if you kind of outstretch the arm a bit and then kind of get him in that kind of pose. It is difficult. As I said, this is the only one I got so far. I'm not sure how it stacks up with the other figures. I'll just going to take his gear off so we can run through the articulation. So the hands are on a swivel, or on the swivel can go all the way around 360. It can hinge out. You can get them to hinge out a little bit more if you push this armor plating out of the way, so it will go up higher. But with the arm plate in the way, it will hinder that articulation point. You have single joint elbows with a swivel. Now you do get a little bit over 90-degree bend on those elbows, which is quite good. You have it's kind of similar to how the McFarlane figures are. You have like a ball joint on the wrist, and you can rotate that ball joint into the position that you want. So if you want up and down movement on the arm, or if you want side to side movement on the sorry, not arm, but on the wrist or on the hand, you can do that. The wrists are on just pegs, so if you want to swap them out, you just pop out the peg and put in the two hands with the gripping hands. Now the body, this is where it gets kind of interesting. The body is actually, from what I can see, it is a separate piece up here, but this strap is for the whole web gear piece is actually so tightly done that it doesn't give much range of movement on the upper torso. There is a waist swivel. You can kind of manipulate it, but it doesn't really do much. You don't get much articulation out of the head as well because of this gas pipe piece as well. It seems to be glued in place. I don't want to try and force it to plug it out, so it is glued down here as well, so just be wary. And then the legs, they do have double jointed knees. You can see the black joint for the knee joint in here. You have double jointed knees. They are very hindered by the waistcoat. This would be across the board as well, because all of these guys are designed with this. I would imagine they're nearly, sorry, knocking the camera. I would imagine they're all using the same buck or the body mold with variations for the sergeant and maybe the special weapon guy, but everyone else looks to be wearing the same stuff. Again, his feet have that same similar ball joint thing going on with like the McFarlane figures. You have like a ball joint and you have a swivel on it, so you can kind of rotate it the way you want, and then move the foot forward and back, so you can move it off the side, forward and back, move it left, forward and back. So you have that, and you have the rocker ankle. There's peg holes on the bottom of the feet. The feet don't have really much detail on it, and then you have these leg wraps, which there isn't like a boot cut articulation point, so there's nothing from the knee down to the ankle, so just be wary of that. But that said, visually they are really cool. There is a lot of, because of the way the figure is designed, and it's nothing to do with the way Joytoy designed them. This is more to do with the actual way the miniature looks. Like, you'd have to have a big trade-off with the miniature versus the figure. Now I know McFarlane are doing figures for Imperial Guard, but they have chosen the option to go with the more standard Cadian uniform, which doesn't have this long trench coat piece, so hopefully when they get released, it won't be as hindered with the articulation point. But that said, they haven't been released yet, so we have to wait and see. So for some scaling, I'm just going to move the box out of the way. I'm going to bring in, we'll start off with more Joytoy 40k stuff. So here he is scaled up to one of the Space Marines, which is a pretty close approximation of how tall these Space Marine guys are compared to the standard, good old standard human, basically, or Imperial Guard, call it what you will. And we have a few more guys here. So we have a Spin Master Superman. We have one of the Predator figures from, this is one of the older style bodies, so it might be different to the newer ones. Let's see if I have one of the newer ones knocking around. But this is the Jungle Hunter. So you can see the Jungle Hunter is still taller than a human figure. We have Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan TV series, for someone from the galaxy far, far away. So you can see kind of I can get him to stand. Come on, Obi. There we go. You can see he kind of stands around the same height as the figure. And do we have anyone else that we can bring in? So here's the Owen Grady figure from the Jurassic World line. You can see the Jurassic World line figures tend to be kind of small, and they're a little bit under scale, but still they are in the 1 to 18 scale. 1 to 18 scale is their, or 1 to 18 scale is the scale they're supposed to be in, 14 or 4 inch kind of thing. And do we have anyone else that we can throw in? Maybe not. Oh, we do have the Obi-Wan keeps falling over. I'm bringing the Captain in Gravis armor since he's not nearby. Just bring, and he's slightly taller than the regular Marines with the I don't know if this guy uses the newer 2.0 body. There was supposed to be a new design body for these guys, but you can see how tall he is compared to this poor little standalone Imperial Guardsman. I do have one of the 2.0 bodies for the Predators. Now, sorry if you're hearing a lot of wind and stuff in the background and noise. It's quite windy over here, and the roof here is metal, so you'll hear things banging off the roof in the background. So here you can see the size of the 2.0 style body for the Predator figures compared to this guy as well. So all in all, I know a lot of people will have issues with the articulation on these guys. They are limited. I will say that is one downside to these guys. I don't know if it could be improved upon. Then, like, as always, things can always try and be improved upon, but for the scale, they might have gone a different route, especially with the collar pieces. I think the collar pieces should have been that kind of more gummy, rubbery plastic, so you got way more articulation out of the head. I know the heads are even limited with the hose pipe coming down, so maybe they were thinking they wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't need that much articulation in the head anyway because of the hose pipe, but I still think they should have gone ahead and given you that extra option for it. Gear wise, this is the one that has, I think, one of the least amount of gear, or the least interesting gear, but I got this guy because he was just like the kind of more basic of troopers. The rest of them all have kind of different stuff. There's one guy with like a medic pack, there's one guy with a communications pack, and then there's guys with the special weapon, and the sergeant guy who comes with a pistol and I think a sword. So like, out of all of them, I think there's only this guy and one other guy kind of has the kind of more standard, just bog standard Imperial Guard gear or Astra Militarum gear. So I went with that, and just to see what they're like. I wouldn't say I don't recommend them, but like, if you're a stickler for articulation, you probably won't enjoy them as much. I know Joytoy are pretty good for doing like super articulated figures with armor and stuff like that, so like the Space Marines are perfectly articulated. These guys are a little bit limited in the way they're done, but overall I think they're good. I probably will pick up the rest of the team for this. I might pick up 1 or 2 extras just to have like an extra couple of guys on the squad, even though it's only supposed to be a kill team. I think of, is it 7 or 9 troopers in total, I think. So there's not too many in the full squad for these guys, but it's always handy to have good old cannon fodder guardsmen to go stop the orcs, which are the only other Xenos creatures at the moment that are being released. Although, that said, at the time of this recording, there has been hinted imagery of Tau battle suits, I think they're called. Yeah, the broadside suits, or one of the suits. So it is possible that we are getting Tau along the line. So that will be a second Xenos race for them to actually go ahead with. So hopefully they will look as good as the Guardsmen visually, and they'll be a little bit more articulated because they don't have as much restrictions in with the waistcoat. And hopefully Joytoy will branch out to other Astra Militarum units, as in Katachan, which are essentially just muscled figures like Arnie and Stallone and guys like that, like just jungle warfare guys. And then the Cadians, which are kind of the more traditional Imperial Guardsmen that have come to be the kind of mainstay of the Guard armies. So there you go, guys. I know I've been kind of waffling on a bit there near the end, but hopefully you enjoyed this video and you stay till the end to have a look at all these different size comparisons. So as always, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to pick up this guy, Big Bad Toy Store have them on pre-order. I got mine from Locker Toys. They actually have them in stock at the moment, and there's a few other Chinese vendors that have them in stock. But it's a question of, at the time of this recording, are they still in stock, or if you're watching this video way down the line, they may be sold out by then, so you might have to go eBay route. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Cheers, guys.